that donate to our organization. Probably the biggest event in the life of missionary flights, without a doubt, was the response to the earthquake last year and in 2010. And there's no way to really describe it. Dave was here through a lot of that. Marshall was here through a lot of that, and maybe some of you others as well. But there's no way to really describe what was going on around here. We went into to hyperdrive, I guess you could say, and we normally do 4 to 5 flights a week is what we average. And for the months of January and February, about halfway through February, we were averaging 7 to 8 flights a day. And we had about 2,000 volunteers come through here during that time. Cargo being shipped in from all over. We shipped about 2 million pounds. We normally do about 1 million pounds in a year. We did 2 million pounds in a month and a half, approximately. We had to charter heavy C-130 aircraft. We had passengers that needed to get into the country, and Hendrick Motorsports and Joe Gibbs Racing called to see how they could help, and they sent their crews and their aircraft. And still get goosebumps talking about it. I've talked about it a bunch of times, but it was just incredible how all the resources came together to meet the need at that time. And certainly nothing that we did, you know, it's not us, but it was the Lord working through us. And we did put a book together about it, one kind of in the case there that being sold out there if anybody's interested in that. It tells a lot of the stories, the missions we fly for sent in stories about what they were going through, and then there's also the story of what happened here at Missionary Flights. It was nothing short of miraculous. And then there's also a focus on what's happening now in Haiti, because you know life's gone on. We're talking about Libya and Wisconsin and elections and all these things. We forget about the news of the past, but a lot of people in Haiti still in a very desperate situation. I'll tell you a secret if you won't tell anybody. The little Haitian city over there to the side they built, that's mainly there to hide all the garbage we have behind there. But it is very accurate. It's amazing how well they've done. And all over Port-au-Prince, I don't care where you go, you see tents. Tents everywhere, absolutely everywhere. When you're landing toward the east on runway 10 into Port-au-Prince, everywhere you look, you'll see blue. And it kind of reminded me of 2004 after the hurricanes. We were down in Palm Beach. You come in to land at Palm Beach, you see blue roofs everywhere. Everybody had the blue on their roof. Well, it's the way it is in Haiti, only they're not going away. And about 700,000 to 800,000 people still living in tents. And Missionary Flights is taking teams. If you're interested in that, there's a sign-up sheet out there at one of the tables. About $500 per person to go for a week, including your food. And they have jobs lined up. And we build about 3 houses a week, concrete home, 20 by 10, I believe they are, 1 wall in the middle, 2 room, but a very sturdy structure, and helping some of the people get out of the situations they find themselves in. Well, I've done a lot of talking. Any questions before I go on? We fly the DC-3 aircraft. We have 4 DC-3s right now, 2 radials and 2 turbines. The radials are more the original planes. Once we get out into the hangar, there's a couple examples of the engines, some overhauled engines ready to go on. We're kind of trying to get out of the radials. It's kind of the end of an era, so it's kind of sad. But we're trying to go to an all-turbine fleet. Avgas is very expensive. We burn 112 gallons an hour when we're flying, and it's about 8 to 9 hours, and it's $7.20 a gallon. Ooh. So you have to take a small bank along on every flight to just pay for the fuel. That's about half the expense of the flight, and then you've got maintenance and insurance. Turbines are also expensive to operate, so the overall cost isn't much different, but it is definitely more efficient. Fly higher, faster, carry a little bit more, burns a little bit more fuel, but the fuel's a lot cheaper. So it's about $2,000 a flight cheaper in the turbine, even though when the maintenance comes due, it costs a lot more money, but the maintenance comes due a lot less often. So our radial engines have to be overhauled about every 1,500 hours at a cost of about $65,000 an engine. Our turbines have to be overhauled every 6,000 hours. The last overhaul was $350,000 per engine. So a lot of expense when you're talking airplanes, but all the different missions working together, covering the expense of the aircraft keeps it relatively affordable as compared to a mission having their own airplane, and then it gets very expensive when you're trying to cover all the costs. Any questions? Yes, ma'am. This is the secretary. That's Carolyn. Carolyn's been with MFI Coombs age, but she's getting ready to retire in April. So we're going to miss Carolyn. She keeps us in line. you have any questions?
You have a question? I'm happy to help.
All right, what we'll do is we'll go down the hall and we'll stop by the mail room and I'll show you a few things there. And then we'll go into the warehouse there next, all right?
That's the wife of the guy who was president of this whole thing. Richard. Yeah. I'm just gonna be recording the whole thing.